Welcome to the Sports with Aliyah talk show. This is a brand new season, season 2. And so we're starting season 2 off with a very fun guest that appeared in season 1 that I'm so excited to have back on, Marcus Tuggle of Thrive Sports Management. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm so excited to have you back on because you were one of my favorite guests from the first season of this because you're just incredible. You speak very well and you just do so much, and I love that. So can you just tell the audience what you've been up to?
Yes, and first I'd just like to say thank you for having me back on. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I've been working on getting a full office swinging here in Wichita, Kansas. I really want to just get it to where I know I can hire some employees to really consistently work there full time around, grow the business, basketball and football, and really been reading into some baseball lately, but I'm also helping out what my JUCO alumni kind of build a new facility and get some funding for those guys and things like that, and of course enjoying every football Sunday, so that's the real great thing right now. So, but missing out on basketball, so I'll be happy when they both kick in with each other to where ESPN is exciting again.
Yes, definitely. It seems like you've been very busy. So you're going to be hiring more employees, getting an office. That's just crazy. How are you going to go about finding people to kind of be your employees? What exactly are you looking for?
Really, number one, just technology has been so big today. So of course the digital age and things, such as the videos, the Instagrammers, the Twitters, the Facebooks, those things, people that really can consistently use those and have the power of social media and knowing just the business side of it. I think that's going to play a huge role in taking the next step, just due to, how much content you can get from a player and how much content you can get just from media, period, and sports. I think that's going to take a big step in, the next process, but I'm definitely excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. And a big reason why I wanted to have you on today too is because you manage quite a few NFL players. So we're just going to kind of go through and talk about some of the players and kind of what it looks like during the season from your standpoint, and also what the players, what teams they're on, and what to look for. So I know, it's hard to pick a first one to start with, but
yeah, it is.
Actually, so what do you do during the season then for your players?
So during the season for my players, what I do is try to find the best deal, such as endorsement deal, marketing deal, anything with community centers to where the player can really show his face other than just being on the field, whether that's going to children's homes or, helping the food banks out, in which, a player of mine plays a huge role in doing that in his off season. So that's kind of my role right there. But then I also have to stay watching the game itself and just really learning more about my player from the visual ways, to where sometimes I don't even have to call them. I just know, the schedule and things like that. And stay in contact with guys is a huge role, because sometimes it's not even about a guy needing anything. Sometimes they just, want somebody to break all the stress to, and relieve some things too. So it's definitely a process. And then also along with college football, you got recruiting. So you have to also get prepared for the next set of guys. It's another draft coming, so what does that do? Is that puts you back into work to where you have to bring on new talent now along with the current talent you have. So pretty soon your phone is, honestly, your phone can't die, because you just never know what you might miss out on, and you don't want to have a client feeling like you're not being consistent with them. So it's a tough role, but I love it. I enjoy it. So.
I feel like you're like a dad to all of these players, and you're probably watching each one what's going to happen?
Yeah, but it's also, it's not just the good part, it's the bad parts too. Some guys get cut, some guys get released, and it's, it's your job to do your best to find that guy another job, and also keep that guy's mind right. Some people get mentally down, but it's your job to be there for that person on their ups as well as their downs. So it's a 24-hour job.
Yeah, and how do you deal with that if someone, does lose their spot on the team, or even if their team just isn't doing as well as expected, or they're not getting a lot of playing time? What do you say to them to try to keep their heads up?
I think the most important thing is just letting your client know that you're there for them, not just for what they make or just for what they do, but you're there for them. Because when the game is done and, when the helmets are put up in the locker room, you still have that person in that player. So a player getting cut, it's a tough thing to deal with, because it's like you can't tell them, oh, it'll be all right. You can, but it's a tough thing because at the end of the day, it's a business and they do understand that. But then it's your time to start working even 10 times more because now you got to start hitting the phone and, you pay attention to who's releasing this position to where you know where your guy can fit in at, and just knowing what's best for your player is a huge role. And you don't want to send a guy to a place to where it's like you have no room to really develop, so it's a job. You have to do your research and you have to really stay on it, So.
And how do you keep all of that information? Like, do you have spreadsheets? Like, how do you stay up with all of that?
I have notebooks. I have sticky notes in my car. Like sometimes I've used like all my tabs in my notes pretty much to where the point is I feel like if I write it down better, it's memorizing it better for me. So I have notebooks. I'll find some scratch paper. If it's some scratch paper around and I need to write down something, I'll just turn it over, and then I'll just rip it, put it in my pocket. I go home and then I empty out all these little notes, and I'm like, man, what was this from? But then I take it back to the big notebook. So it's definitely something new for me. I'll say that. I would say the difference is doing it now compared to when I did it was when I was working with somebody else or working under another company. It was me just having the board and things like that. But when it's your own company, you got to put in 10 times much work because you want everything just to keep going afloat. And so it takes some hard work.
Yeah, most definitely. And then during the season, are you mostly based in Wichita? Are you traveling around back and forth?
I try to make it to each guy's game at least once or twice during the year. But then I also try to stay put as well because I don't want to be too many places. I want to stay in one location and stay to where my phone is available for me. Traveling sometimes you get on the plane and your phone's out for a few hours, but a player might need you within those 3 hours. Anything can happen. A player can get cut. They find out on ESPN and they'll be mad that they didn't find out from you first. So it's just a lot of things that you have to deal with. But yeah, I try to stay put and really, because I still have to do recruiting as well. So.
Wow.
It's a two-way thing.
Wow, you are so
You have
busy.
to be on a game Saturday for a college kid, but you also have to be at a game Sunday for your professional kids.
And honestly, like that just goes back to even basic skills of remembering people's names and faces and being like a people person. That takes a special person.
Oh, yeah, it does. I got a stack full of cards that I just take from people when I'm out, and it's like, if I need to talk to a Yahoo reporter, I'll just go back in the stack and I'm like, hold on, where's the guy I met?
trading cards.
Yeah. Oh man, all the time. That's the most important thing. But the thing is now is, social media is so powerful where cards are not becoming too upbeat, but social media is just like, right at the palm of our hand. So that's really working a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. So now let's just dive into some of your players then. Who are some players that you think we should keep an eye out for, or just some?
Well, of course, I would like to tell you all, but we
don't have time for all of that. So
but
we'll just highlight some.
I would definitely say Kyle Wilson, just because he's a Wichita, Kansas kid. Having the journey he's had from JUCO to just not even being, recruited highly, but then beating the odds and staying in the league, staying active, and consistently earning his spot each and every day. Because when you're a guy that's undrafted, you literally have to fight for everything. Like you can't even be late to a meeting because that might cost you your position. So Kyle Wilson is definitely a guy that I inspire anybody to look into if you're looking to chase a dream or do anything, because that's a guy that just won't quit. The energy's real high. So he's definitely a top guy for me, one of my first guys I've ever signed. But I will also say John Brown, Buffalo Bills. He went to Pitt State here, so he's a very humble guy and just really enjoys the game and enjoys helping the youth out and inspiring the youth. Does camps all summer for youth and just up 4 a.m. all the time ready to play some football. So those are two guys that really just stand out to me. B.W. Webb, Cincinnati Bills, Robert Thomas, the Giants. Well, I'm sorry, not the Giants, the Bills as well. Terrence Williams, Dallas Cowboys, one guy that's really just fighting back from injuries, but will get back to himself, and I'm happy for him. Abdul Kani, he's one of the top players in the CFL, so he's from London, so that's one guy I just love to really understand and get to know even more. So, but yeah, there's a lot more that I will be bringing on to the table from the football and the basketball division. We also have one, Derek Griffin. He plays for the Kings now, the Sacramento Kings. So that was great to bust into that world a little
Yeah.
bit. So,
Wow.
but I'm looking to get into the MLB and others as well. So,
Wow, that's incredible. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's a job. It's a grind.
Yeah, it
It's a
definitely
grind.
is.
It's a grind.
Wow. Well, that was incredible learning about all of the professional athletes that, well, not all of them, but that you manage. So, can you take me through the process of recruiting, what that looks like for you, where you go for that, and just what that looks like for someone that's already so busy?
I would say the number one thing of recruiting is networking, such as events. You definitely want to take part in any sporting event or any type of field that you're looking to get into. I would definitely take part in those events right off the bat. Social media. Surprisingly, sometimes you can just send a guy a DM. You know,
Slide into the DMs.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, just due to how powerful social media has begun and the content that you can show people, you know, to make them believe that, hey, this is really this guy, you know, he's really playing that role, he's really doing this. So sometimes the social media can just verify everything for you to where it's like, hey, I see this guy's, you know, his resume is good enough to where I can trust him. So definitely social media. Sometimes just college games, you know, just popping up at a game, and you know, you just want to look at the guys, do a little research, but you also have reporters and Yahoo guys that you can literally text or just email and ask about, hey, who's the top guy in the Kansas region or in the Texas and Oklahoma region, and they'll throw you out some names of those are the guys you run to. But the thing about it is you have to think is it's you plus 99 other guys trying to sign this guy. So, you know, sometimes financially it gets in the way. Sometimes these guys want Rolexes and Rolls Royces,
Yeah.
but it's like, what? It's like, no, we can't do that,
Yeah.
buddy. Like, let's do this the right way to where we can be here for the long run.
Yeah.
So it's also you teaching guys at the same time, because some of these guys, they see all the glitz and glamour and they get blind over it, or the big name, and it just blinds them. So it's tough, but it's a task I love to do.
Yeah, and I feel like in the last episode we definitely did touch on what makes you guys stand out, but from this recruiting standpoint of when there's so many other companies that do want someone, what is your biggest selling point of what you guys do and the authenticity and genuineness that you bring to the table?
I can just sum that up in 2 words. I can just say trust. I'm letting them know that they can trust me, and just having that on your resume of trust and that I care for these people. You know, I don't care for them just as the football player or the basketball player. I actually care for them as a person, to see them move forward in life, such as with their wife, their kids, you know, building their foundation. So I would just say those 2 are the biggest to me, is, you know, trusting and actually caring for them. So those take a huge role in your process.
And when you're recruiting, how do you, because obviously now that like I know you and I see what you do, it's easy to see that, but as a recruit that you might only have a few minutes with them, how do you really get that message across to them?
The best thing is, you know, just building a rapport to where you know that person. You know, it's kind of like you just go to them and act like you know them already. You know, you get them in that comfortable zone to where it's like, it's okay to talk. It's okay to tell me your failures. You know, I'm not here to tell you what you should do better.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you on how we can do better moving forward. So that's the main thing. And just really understanding them. You know, a lot of guys, the first thing is the blame game. You know, you get guys out of the blame game into the mirror, and you let them know that, hey, you know, you got to take some responsibility on this. You know, it sucks, but it's life. You know, and so, but the thing is, though, also doing that for yourself as well, letting yourself know sometimes when you're not doing a good job or when you can do better on doing things with this client. You know, because I've looked in the mirror 1,000 times and I just started writing like, I know I need to do this better,
Yeah.
do this less, you know, say this less, do this more thing. So. It's a merry-go-round. It's a merry-go-round. I can
Definitely.
say that.
Well, that's really cool that you can be honest. I feel like nowadays everything is about the glitz and the glamour, and so having people that are real people that have real intentions is just awesome, and I love seeing that. And now on the flip side of that, I do have a lot of high school and college athletes that follow me, and so what can they do if they're not the number one recruit and they really want to get their name out there and really show what they have to offer?
Believe in yourself. Do research on what it is you're doing, whether it's bowling, basketball, football, chess. I don't care what it is. Do research on what it is that you're doing. Know the business side of it. Don't just know the sport, because it's the sports business for a reason. It's the NFL for a reason. It's the NBA for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a business at the end of the day. So you have to understand what you're getting yourself into, and just know that everything that's coming won't always last. Understand that some things are just for the moment, but also enjoy the moments. Don't get too ahead of yourself and try to just run when you're still in the walking stage. So definitely do that, and just keep yourself focused on your goal. Because when you focus on your goal, I just don't think there's nothing that can stop you if you really lock in on your goal and focus. 6 months can put you a year ahead of time. So I would just say just lock in.
Yeah.
Because that's what it took me to do, just lock in on my goal.
I love talking to you. It feels like a therapy session. Like I feel like I'm getting advice right now. But on that subject of advice, since you had such good points to say to the athletes and to like about what you do, you did mention the management side of it, and I already know that last time you extended an invite to any Wichita State sport management people that might want to shadow you. So what would you say to the students now that are wanting to be where you're at? What would you say to them about just being in the business and following their dreams and goals, even in a place like Wichita?
Start off right here at WSU. I mean, we have a great basketball program. You can start right here in your city. There's really no excuse for the whole, I'm not in a bigger city thing anymore.
Yeah.
That used to be the excuse, but due to social media, I mean, it's just not an excuse, you know what I mean? And with WSU having a great team that we have, and with everything growing around us, such as the semi-pro baseball team and things like that, there's just so much room for everyone now to where you can really start learning now and doing what you want to do now. But the thing is, though, you have to keep the focus and understand the business part of it. You have to really invest yourself into it, and really sometimes lose some sleep about it. But I would definitely say Wichita is probably better than it's ever been right now in sports.
I definitely
love
agree.
it.
Yeah. And what would you say was the biggest kind of culture shock to you when you first got into the business? Because I feel like people can tell you so much about how it is, and you don't truly know what it's like until you get there. So what was the biggest adjustment for you when you got to the professional side of everything?
Knowing these people are just like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the same.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I was with Adrian Peterson, and I didn't even realize it was him next to me.
Yeah.
Until I just looked over, and I was like, it's Adrian Peterson standing next to me.
Yeah.
And, my attorney was like, all right, and I was like, all right. Like, everybody's gonna act like this is normal? But the thing is, though, you end up meeting these guys and talking to these people, and they deal with the same stuff we deal with. I mean, their bank accounts may be a little different, but they deal with the same issues, they deal with the same problems, they go through the same things we do. So once you find that out, it's like, I can relax. Like, I don't have to be so out there and try to just throw myself out there. Like, most of these guys like you more when you're not so jump at them, and for a minute they'd be like, oh, so he's not those guys that's just gonna jump at you. It's like they let their wall down. Like, he's not gonna just ask for an autograph and leave.
Definitely.
Like, okay, I can talk to you. Okay. And then they just let off, and then that's where that rapport you just did, it just goes for the long run.
Definitely. I've said that too, because I've had a lot of people ask me if I get nervous to interview people. I've talked to Russell Westbrook, Enes Kanter, and honestly, I don't get nervous because of that reason. And I feel like a lot of younger college students or going into college students wanting to get into this industry should know that. And I am friends with some of the athletes that I've covered, and they said the same thing. They would rather, even if you are a fan, just talk to them like a normal human being that they are, and they will love you for that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, yeah.
But since we are on the subject of you being a little starstruck, who would you say was the biggest person that has struck you?
Kevin Durant.
Really?
And Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, though they starstruck me.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that Kevin Durant did is because I was so starstruck, and he looked at me like I was kind of froze for a bit, and he was
You're in the headlights.
he's like, how you doing? And I was like, what's up? How you doing? And it was literally right after a game of his. But then after, I sat and talked to the guy for like 20, 30 minutes, and I was like, this guy's just like me. Like, we're just sitting here talking, like having a drinking Gatorade.
Yeah.
So that was real great. And then Dave Chappelle, I think it was just due to him being a comedian.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, just cracking jokes, and yeah, what's up? You want to shake hand? Like, you gonna say hi to me? Like, and so, but then it's kind of tough because, you got people I've met. I was blessed to meet Erica Badu and, the Grant Cardones. And I think Roger Clemens as well was a big one to me. I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
Yeah,
tough.
definitely.
That's definitely tough.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
I
that's
literally
tough.
just saw you the other day post a picture with Kevin Durant that you had, and I was like, wait, what? That's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
cool.
it's tough. That's
Yeah.
a tough question. So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
it's just because I don't want to take away the moments from anybody else because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been great opportunities.
So to kind of close out this interview, something that I have started doing, not when you were here, it was kind of new halfway through last season, was just asking some fun questions that aren't sports related just to get to know you a little bit more. And I'm so excited to try this out with you because you're a very expressive and funny person. So we will see what you have to say.
I like this.
Try to say the first thing that comes to your mind too. Like,
Okay.
don't hold back, just first thing that pops into your mind.
Gotcha.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so, let's see. If you were to be any movie character to replace them, who would you be?
Like, actor?
The character itself.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I can see why.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street.
That's awesome. If you could have any animal for a pet, what would it be and why?
Black Jaguar.
Why is that?
I just think they're so nice. Like, I just always loved them. So, I don't know. I just always loved them.
Yeah, okay, so, favorite ice cream flavor?
It'd be like the vanilla and chocolate mix swirl.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
pretty low-key, pretty simple.
Yeah, you gotta be the mixture of it, though.
Yeah. What is your dream car?
It was a Maybach SUV that I've seen. It's like a G-Wagon. It's like $1.5 million. I'll probably never buy
Wow.
it or never get it, but it's very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite cartoon character?
I would definitely say Cat Dog.
Why is that?
I just love that show. I like Dog because, it was kind of like me and my brother. The cat was always the smart one. The dog was kind of the, not making so smart decisions all the time. So I
Yeah.
would definitely say that.
What's your favorite movie or TV series or things you like to binge watch?
Favorite movie, probably Training Day. Favorite show to watch is Ballers. And Ballers, yeah.
Okay. This one might be a little bit hard. What's your favorite meme?
That is tough.
I don't even know what I would answer that with, honestly.
Dang. Because it's like you think about the old ones and you think about the ones that are new. Probably the Michael Jordan crying face.
That's a classic.
Yeah, probably the Michael Jordan crying face.
Very on brand for us sports people.
Yeah,
And
definitely that way.
then, what's your favorite Vine?
Boy. I used to save so many different Vines. I can't even think.
I'll tell you mine while we're waiting.
Which one?
So mine's the one that's like, yo, this kid's on crack. And they throw a basketball at his head and he's like, yeah. That
Oh, I
one.
think, yeah! Yeah, I know what you're talking about, actually.
Yeah, that one's
I
my
do.
favorite. 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I
that's
do.
so funny.
I actually do know which one. Yeah! I just can't even think of which one. I don't know. Probably anyone that was saved to my file at the time because I used to just save them and look at them.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was even in the mat. And sometimes I'd be mad and I would just go back and look at Vines, start laughing
That's
at
the
random
best
stuff.
therapy, though. If
Yeah,
you're mad,
I
just be
used
like,
to
I'm
do
just
that.
going to scroll through
Yeah,
Vine.
I used to be like, man, something would make me laugh. So,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of Vine, have you got into TikTok? I mean, you're so busy, but like, have you seen TikTok and like seen what it's about?
I've heard. I haven't got into it or know much about it, but I've
Yeah.
heard about it.
Okay, because it's kind of like Vine, but it's just a little bit longer videos. So I feel like if you're ever sad, just go on TikTok and you'll be fine.
All depressing times. Go to TikTok.
Yes,
Okay.
that's my public service announcement. Well, on that note, it was so great having you on. Speaking of therapy sessions, it literally feels like a therapy session whenever I get to talk to you. So thank you for that. Let's just tell the audience, I know you've told them before, but where can they find you to reach out to you with any inquiries about business or even just wanting to be your friend and hit you up?
On Facebook, Marcus Tuggle Jr., and then on Instagram, Mute Haters, MUTEH8TRS, and then of course Thrive Sports Management. If you need to contact me on there, you as well as there, and Twitter is all the same as well. So
Awesome.
In Snapchat, yep.
And Snapchat.
I'm pretty much all over the place.
Yes, definitely. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at funshell18. And don't forget to like the Sports with Aliyah Facebook page and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for coming on, by the way.
No problem, no problem.